So, where do I start? So let's start off by just saying, if you're new to the channel, I'm Avery. I have one rabbit and she lives outside. And it is very common for me to get a lot of hate comments on that, whether it's on ZooPix, which if you didn't know is just like a social media app, or if it's here on YouTube. I get a lot of comments of people telling me that I'm inexperienced and that she doesn't belong in a cage and she shouldn't be outside and all this stuff. And I get it, you know, if you don't know why she lives outside or why she lives in a cage, then I get how people could get frustrated or whatever, but the hate comments get to be kind of a lot sometimes. They're really annoying, and they can also just make me sad sometimes because, you know, when you're doing your very best to give your rabbit the best life possible and then people are still giving you hate for it, it's kind of depressing. So I wanted to make this video to explain why Brenny lives outside, and I also just feel like it'll be easier if I do get those comments, because I know I will still. It's just easier to direct people to a video that explains it rather than writing this really long response. Alright, so let's start back at the beginning because I feel like that'll kind of help you understand how we got to this point. I don't know, but so I got Brenny 4 years ago. I originally wanted a dog. My mom said no because my mom didn't want a dog. She said no, but she said, what about a bunny? And at first I was like, no, and then I was like, you know what, yeah, let's just get a bunny. Because I don't know, I guess I was just bored and I wanted a pet. So I decided to get a bunny. I didn't really do any research before getting a rabbit, so I ended up just buying a rabbit from a breeder, which that's a whole nother topic. I don't really recommend that, but we're not going to go into that today. Point is, I didn't really do much research before getting a bunny, so I didn't know much about bunnies. I'd never had a bunny before, but she didn't get the best care because I just didn't really know how to take care of her. And she did live outside at the time, and I didn't really see anything wrong with it. As time went by, I started researching more and found out that, you know, a lot of times rabbits do better indoors. And I started asking my parents, you know, if she could live inside. And through the years, I have continually asked my parents if Brenny can live inside. I've tried everything I can to convince them, and they still say no because my parents just do not want any animals in our house, and I can't change that. So that's why Brenny lives outside, because I'm not 18 yet. I'm not an adult. I can't move out of the house and get my own house. And it's my parents' house, so I can't make the rules. Alright, so now that you understand the reason she lives outside, I want to kind of talk about what her setup is at the moment, what her living situation is. So I just looked it up. I have it written down on my phone. Brenny's hutch is 6 feet wide, so that means it is 6 feet from the left side of the cage to the right side of the cage, and then it is 34 inches from the front of the cage to the back of the cage. So that's how big it is. It's a nice big hutch, and 6 feet by 34 inches does exceed the minimum enclosure requirement for one rabbit. So in my opinion, the minimum rabbit enclosure size is about 4 feet by 2 feet, which is pretty small. According to the Indiana House Rabbit Society, the minimum cage size for a rabbit is 30 inches by 30 inches, which is like about 2.5 feet by 2.5 feet, which is pretty small. So 6 feet by 34 inches exceeds that a lot. So her cage does exceed the minimum requirement for one rabbit. So the hutch is off the ground. It has a nice wood floor, which I put like a fleece cage liner on top of. She has 2 areas to her hutch. Her house, which is closed off. It's all wood on the outside, and we also insulated the inside so that rain and wind and stuff won't blow in there, and it's a very nice enclosed area for her. And then she has the more open part of the hutch, which has a wire wall, I guess. So that's kind of what the hutch is like. Alright, now it kind of depends on the weather and how busy I am and stuff, but on some days Brenny does get to come out into her play area, which is an area I make using 2 X pens, plus there's an enclosed area under her hutch, so it's a very, very nice large play area. I don't know the exact dimensions of it, but it is very large. And she does get to come out there sometimes. So from probably like middle of spring to middle of fall-ish, it kind of depends on the weather, but about that space of time, Brenny lives outside in her hutch. If it gets hot, I have a fan that I run, and she can either choose to sit in front of it or she can go somewhere where she's completely out of it blowing. And then I also give her frozen water bottles, which she likes to lay beside, and that helps cool her off. And I give her ice water and frozen fruit as treats, and I do my very best to keep her as cool as possible during the summer. Now during the winter, Brenny actually doesn't live out in her hutch. She comes into our garage. So our garage isn't heated or anything, but it is warmer during the winter because it's out of the wind, and if you put some source of heat in there, it'll hold better. I don't know if that makes sense, but she does live in our garage during the winter. So Brenny is actually moving into our garage this weekend, so hopefully next week's video will be like a vlog of moving her into the garage so you guys can kind of see her whole setup and everything. But when I move her into the garage, she has 1 X pen all the time, which is, if you're wondering, 4x4, 4 feet by 4 feet, that's the dimensions. And then some days during the week she will get an additional pen attached to there, so it's a nice really big play area. And I do also use a heat lamp when it's colder, and that helps her stay warm if she sits by it. So that's kind of just what I do to protect Brenny from the heat and the cold as best as I can without actually bringing her in our house, but she does get to come into the garage during the winter. Alright, so I think that's all I had to say. Hopefully you understand now why my bunny lives outside and why she can't live inside right now. If I would have known at the time that rabbits did better off indoors, I probably wouldn't have gotten a rabbit, but now that I have her, it's honestly a much more responsible thing to do to just keep her and give her the best life I can than to give her up and not know if she's gonna go to a good home or not. I love Brenny so, so, so much. I do the best I can to give her the best life possible. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. We're hopefully gonna have a vlog of moving Brenny into the garage next week, and I'm really excited to set up her winter pen and everything. So yeah, we will see you guys next week. Bye!